Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we grab a stack of really smart books and articles, sift through all that dense material, and pull out the most important, actionable nuggets of knowledge for you.
That's the plan.
Today, we're diving into a book that, well, for many, isn't just a book. It's more like a genuine cultural phenomenon, a siren call to a completely different way of life. We're talking, of course, about Tim Ferriss's The 4-Hour Workweek.
Right. That one definitely made some waves. Still does, I think.
Oh, absolutely. Think about it. That widespread dream, escaping the traditional 9-to-5 grind.
Everyone's felt that pull at some point.
Exactly. Designing your own lifestyle where work fits into your life, not the other way around. And achieving financial freedom with what feels like, well, minimal effort.
That's the promise, isn't it? The big hook.
It really is the ultimate aspiration for so many of us. And this book, it just perfectly captured that yearning. It felt like it offered a practical blueprint for exactly that kind of freedom.
It absolutely ignited a conversation, and, for good reason. The 4-Hour Workweek truly became a cultural touchdown. It challenged generations of conventional wisdom about what work should be.
Yeah, how a career should progress.
And even what retirement really means. But the core question we're going to explore in this deep dive is, I think, crucial.
Okay.
Is this vision of lifestyle design, is it a truly realistic, desirable, and maybe most importantly, sustainable goal? Or does its really compelling narrative sometimes, just sometimes, stray into what could be a dangerous fantasy?
That's the tension. Right. That's what we want to unpack today. And look, we're definitely going to give the book its full credit. It absolutely deserves praise.
Oh, for sure. It was provocative.
It really was. Its powerful challenge to the status quo, introducing incredibly valuable concepts to a mass audience, ideas like, radical efficiency, ruthless focus.
Smartly leveraging technology and outsourcing. These are genuinely transformative ideas, no doubt about it.
But at the same time, we're going to offer a robust, constructive critique.
Right. We need to look at both sides. We'll be questioning the sustainability and perhaps even more importantly, the true fulfillment that some of its core tenets ultimately offer.
Like what specifically?
Well, we'll be looking particularly closely at concepts like effortless arbitrage, purely passive income, and the whole nature of eliminating and liberating oneself from responsibilities.
Yeah.
And we want to understand if these are always paths to genuine freedom, or if they sometimes lead to different, maybe less fulfilling outcomes.
And for you, our listener, this isn't just some academic exercise, right?
Not at all.
This discussion is a vital opportunity to gain a well-informed, critical perspective on a topic that's not just widely discussed, but often, let's be honest, idealized.
Totally. It gets put on a pedestal sometimes.
We want to empower you to think deeply about what true success, freedom, and meaningful work really mean in your own life. Use the insights we uncover from this rich stack of sources as your guide.
Sounds like a plan. Let's get into it.
So let's unpack this fascinating conversation. 1, the revolutionary appeal. Challenging the status quo and embracing efficiency. All right, let's jump right into what made the 4-Hour Workweek so incredibly appealing. Because its initial draw was, undeniably powerful.
It hit a nerve.
It really did. At its heart, the book delivered this audacious, almost defiant message.
Yeah.
Shatter the traditional 9-to-5 paradigm.
Yeah, break free.
It fundamentally challenged that ingrained notion that you have to endlessly climb a corporate ladder for decades, trading your prime years, your youth, your energy.
For some distant, often uncertain retirement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It essentially asked us all why. Why are we doing work this way? What if there's a fundamentally different, more liberated, and crucially more efficient approach available to us right now, not just at the end of a long career?
And this challenge to the established order, it really taps into a deeper underlying current in strategic thinking that, well, it predates Ferriss's book by decades.
Oh, interesting. Like what?
Yeah. Think about Gary Hamel and C.K. Prahalad. In their work on strategic flexibility, they speak precisely to this need to escape old constraints, old thinking, old questions, and address everything that is new.
Right, shaking things up.
Exactly. They described an era of creative destruction, a time when old models just won't cut it anymore, that demands different perspectives on organizations, different styles of leadership. Ferriss's book, whether he consciously referenced these concepts or not, was a potent manifestation of this very idea, but for the individual.
So it was tapping into something already brewing?
I think so. It aligned perfectly with Charles Handy's foresight. He considered this shift potentially as significant as that brought about by the invention of the printing press. envisioning people freed from the constraints of the office and the formal organization.
Wow, that's a big statement.
It is. This wasn't just about finding a better job. It spoke to a deep, almost universal desire for personal autonomy, for control over one's own time, and ultimately, one's own destiny. It resonated so deeply because it offered what felt like a tangible path to a kind of freedom many felt was completely out of reach.
That's a powerful connection. And it was such a stark contrast, wasn't it, to the traditional advice so many of us grew up with, that unspoken social contract around work.
Definitely.
Consider Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Now, that book was revolutionary in its own right, pushing financial literacy and entrepreneurship.
Big impact there, too.
But it still largely outlines a structured life path. Go to school, graduate, build businesses, and become a successful investor. It's a structured, long-game trajectory.
Focused on moving from job security
to financial security and eventually financial freedom. But Kiyosaki himself gives a clear warning, right? He says this is not an easy life path.
It requires serious commitment long-term. Ferriss, on the other hand, didn't just propose a different path. He proposed a radical reimagining, a kind of shortcut, almost.
Yeah, a life hack for your career.
He suggested that you could aim for that freedom much earlier, often with significantly less direct effort over the long term, by optimizing intensely in the short term. It wasn't about slowly building a fortress.
More like finding the most efficient slingshot.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it. Now, one of the most powerful and, I think, enduring ideas that Ferriss undeniably popularized, even if he didn't invent it, was this concept of extreme focus and prioritization.
The 80-20 rule, essentially.
Right. He taught a mass audience to home in on those high-impact activities, the Pareto principle. Identify the few critical tasks that yield the vast majority of your results.
And then this is the key part.
Ruthlessly eliminate, automate, or delegate everything else. It's all about working smarter, not necessarily longer hours.
And this principle, it isn't just some modern self-help fad. It's something truly effective executives and leaders have understood and applied for a very long time across all sorts of fields.
Like who?
Well, Peter F. Drucker, the legendary management consultant, in What Makes an Effective Executive, he explicitly states, you get results by exploiting opportunities, not solving problems.
Focusing on the upside.
Precisely. It's a direct alignment with focusing on those high-leverage activities, those opportunities that, when you act on them, yield disproportionate returns. It's a fundamental shift from being reactive, just putting out fires,
to being proactively strategic. Makes sense.
Drucker also gives very practical examples of this kind of efficiency. Things like running productive meetings by articulating each meeting's purpose. Terminate the meeting once the purpose is accomplished.
Simple but powerful. Cut the fluff.
Exactly. This isn't about being lazy or trying to do less overall. It's about doing the right things with laser precision, making sure every minute spent contributes meaningfully to a defined outcome.
That's a really powerful distinction. And it goes beyond just the business world, right?
Yeah.
You see this same ethos, this relentless focus on strategic action, even in, say, military leadership.
Absolutely. In Extreme Ownership, by former Navy SEALs Jocko Willink and Leif Babin, they dedicate a whole key chapter to prioritize and execute.
Okay.
The core idea there is to effectively focus on targets and objectives, making decisive moves to complete missions, even when you're in the middle of chaos and extreme pressure, like combat.
Channeling energy effectively.
It's about channeling limited energy and resources where they will have the maximum impact, making every single action count. This rigorous strategic elimination and reduction isn't just about avoiding stuff you don't like doing. It's actually a core tenet of something called Blue Ocean Leadership by W. Chan Kim and Renee Momborn. They task leaders with creating a new leadership profile by rigorously cutting back on the acts and activities that were to be eliminated and reduced.
And focusing more on what does add value.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And this requires a very deliberate process, feedback loops, a clear understanding of what truly drives value in that context. So the book's emphasis on efficiency, while maybe presented simply, isn't just a clever trick. It's really a distillation of these long-held strategic principles for maximizing impact.
Okay, so the practical cornerstone of Ferriss's approach to achieving this kind of radical efficiency was leveraging technology and, crucially, outsourcing.
Yes, the virtual assistant army.
Exactly. The book really championed the use of VAs, remote teams, automation tools, basically democratizing strategies that, were previously only really available to large corporations or the super wealthy.
Bringing big business tools to the individual.
The core idea was to free up your own precious time and mental energy to focus exclusively on those truly higher value, high impact activities we just talked about.
Instead of getting bogged down in admin or repetitive tasks.
Yeah.
And this concept, it's deeply rooted in modern business strategy. It's become even more prevalent since the book first came out. Hamill and Prahalad, back in Strategic Flexibility, explicitly discuss the growing trend towards outsourcing all other non-core activities to enhance overall competitiveness.
Focusing on your core strengths.
Exactly. And they also highlight the importance of effective supplier management in this context. Successful outsourcing isn't just about handing off tasks blindly, it's about carefully managing those external relationships to maintain quality and strategic alignment.
So it requires active management, not just delegation.
Definitely. It's about recognizing what you truly need to do internally, your unique contribution, versus what can be more efficiently and effectively handled by external partners or specialized tech solutions.
And it goes beyond just simple cost cutting, right? We're just offloading tasks you don't enjoy.
Oh, much deeper than that. Peter Thiel and Blake Masters in 0 to 1 argue that computers are complements for humans, not substitutes.
Okay, empowering people.
Yes, they emphasize that the most valuable businesses of coming decades will be built by entrepreneurs who seek to empower people rather than try to make them obsolete. Virtual assistants, seen in this light, aren't merely cheap labor or a way to avoid work.
They're a tool for leverage.
A powerful tool to empower the individual. They allow you to leverage technology and human resources globally, dramatically amplifying your reach and productivity. It's like giving yourself a small army to tackle tasks.
That's a good analogy.
We see this in very practical terms, too. For instance, in The Technological Revolution in Financial Services by King and Nesbitt, they note how technology acts as a tool that facilitates innovation only when people use this tool to pursue their ambitions.
So the tech itself isn't the point.
It's how you use it. For financial advisors, for example, tech frees them from computationally heavy and time-consuming activities in order to focus on relationship-building activities that deepen trust with clients.
Freeing up human capacity for human connection.
Exactly. It illustrates how strategic outsourcing and tech leverage isn't just about avoiding work, but about redirecting your human capacity to the most meaningful, human-centric, and ultimately high-value aspects of your role. It transforms your work, ideally, rather than simply reducing it. 2. The promise and peril of arbitrage and passive income.
Okay, so while the efficiency and outsourcing concepts are, undeniably powerful and strategically sound, here's where we start to maybe veer into that dangerous fantasy territory we mentioned earlier.
Right, the potential pitfall.
The 4-hour work week often suggests finding arbitrage opportunities, exploiting price differences, market inefficiencies, to generate truly passive income with minimal ongoing effort.
The holy grail.
It sounds absolutely amazing on paper, doesn't it? Find a gap, fill it, and watch the money roll in while you're off surfing or something.
The dream scenario.
But our sources reveal that true sustainable arbitrage is actually, quite rare. And it often requires something far more substantial than just spotting a fleeting opportunity.
This is such a critical point, and it's where a deep understanding of market dynamics becomes absolutely essential for anyone who's serious about building long-term wealth, not just a quick win.
Okay.
Hamilton Helmer, in his amazing work 7 Powers, makes a crucial distinction that really cuts through the illusion of easy arbitrage.
What's the distinction?
He states unequivocally that power results from the simultaneous presence of a benefit and a barrier.
Benefit and barrier. Got it.
He clarifies that while benefits are common, like a good product, a lower price, temporary demand, they often bear little positive impact on company value, as they are generally subject to full arbitrage.
Meaning they get copied quickly.
Exactly. If you just find a benefit, it's quickly copied, matched, or undercut by competitors. That benefit gets arbitraged away and your profit margins just evaporate.
Okay, so the benefit isn't enough.
Not for long-term value. The true potential for value, Helmer argues, lies in those rare instances in which you can prevent such arbitrage, and it is the barrier which accomplishes this.
So you need that barrier. Like what?
Think intellectual property, unique network effects, a truly strong and differentiated brand, economies of scale, proprietary technology, something defensible. Without that barrier, any short-term market inefficiency or benefit you find will quickly be discovered and exploited by others.
Driving profits down to zero.
Or at least to the point where they're no longer passive or significant. This is the critical difference between a quick buck and lasting defensible wealth, a nuance often missed in the simply interpretations of the 4-hour workweek. You end up on a perpetual hamster wheel, just chasing the next fleeting opportunity.
That makes perfect sense. It's like a gold rush, right?
Yeah.
The first few prospectors might get rich, but then everyone piles in and the opportunity's gone or the individual gains become tiny.
Exactly that. And Paul Krugman's A Country is Not a Company offers some broader context here. He notes that open systems like companies typically experience a different kind of feedback than closed systems like economies. Well, while a company might find an internal arbitrage opportunity like shifting resources between widgets and gizmos, scaling that idea of market arbitrage to a significant sustained economic effect for, say, an entire country.
Like trying to get a huge trade surplus.
Right. That would require the country to become a net exporter of capital on a scale never before seen. It just highlights the sheer difficulty and the systemic impact of trying to scale these individual arbitrage ideas to achieve significant sustained economic effect.
It reinforces how elusive true market arbitrage is on a grand scale.
It does. It underscores that these aren't simple, endless loopholes just waiting to be exploited. It's a highly dynamic and often self-correcting system out there.
And sometimes the pursuit of these quick passive income streams, especially if you don't fully understand the underlying risks or, frankly, the ethical implications, it can lead to genuinely dire consequences.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just that the gains might be fleeting. They can be downright dangerous. Financial ruin, severe legal repercussions. This is where the fantasy can really become a nightmare.
Indeed. And we've seen this play out spectacularly and often tragically in financial history. Michael Lewis's The Big Short just brilliantly illustrates the profound systemic risks embedded in complex financial products that were often marketed as kinds of arbitrage opportunities.
The CDOs and stuff.
Exactly. He describes how investors in those collateralized debt obligations, those complex bundles of often really high-risk loans, faced sheer difficulty just getting accurate information about what was actually inside these products.
He didn't know what they were buying.
Right. With most investors simply skipping this stage of their due diligence. This toxic combination of opacity, complexity, and a profound lack of deep understanding meant that these seemingly attractive arbitrage opportunities were, in fact, ticking time bombs.
Profoundly risky.
And for many, utterly devastating. The illusion of easy money masked these catastrophic underlying vulnerabilities.
And it wasn't just about losing money. Sometimes the pursuit of these gains crosses directly into flat-out illegality.
Unfortunately, yes. James B. Stewart's Den of Thieves provides some really stark examples of illegal arbitrage and market manipulation back in the day.
Like the Boesky case.
Precisely. It recounts how Ivan Bojeski, notoriously instructed by Michael Milken, acquired fishbox stock with a guarantee against losses and then filed a false 13D disclosure statement with the SEC.
So, outright lying to the regulators.
It wasn't just unethical, it was a criminal act designed purely to profit from insider information and market manipulation. Boesky eventually faced a staggering $100 million fine plus prison time.
Wow.
It just demonstrates the very real, dangerous fantasy of attempting to profit from information asymmetry and market manipulation for what appears to be effortless, risk-free gain. It underscores that what looks like a quick win can quickly become a legal and financial quagmire, destroying reputations and lives, not just bank accounts.
Okay, this brings us to a really fundamental tension that the book maybe sometimes glosses over. The allure of quick passive income versus the grounded reality of building sustainable long-term wealth.
The quick fix versus the long haul.
Often, truly significant wealth accumulation isn't about the quick score or the clever trick. It requires patience, unwavering long-term commitment, and deeply disciplined behavior.
Absolutely. Burton G. Malkiel's classic A Random Walk Down Wall Street makes a very clear, very compelling case for long-term investing over short-term speculation.
What does he say?
He states that you are reasonably sure of earning the generous rates of return available from common stocks only if you can hold them for relatively long periods of time, citing an historical average of slightly more than 10% over 25 years.
So time in the market, not timing the market.
Essentially, yes. It's a stark reminder that significant, reliable returns typically don't just materialize overnight or even over a few months. They come through consistent, patient investment, riding out market fluctuations, and letting compounding do its magic over decades. It's about planting a tree, not just picking a wild berry you happen to find.
And this directly counters some of that 4-hour workweek imagery, doesn't it? The immediate, effortless riches, the quick flip to financial independence.
It really does. Thomas J. Stanley and William D. Danko's The Millionaire Next Door paints a very different and frankly far more common picture of actual millionaires in America.
What are they like? Not Ferriss's ideal.
Generally, no. They could characterize not by flash and quick gains, but by thrift, low status, discipline, low consumption, risk, and very hard work.
Hard work, not 4 hours.
Right. These aren't people jet-setting on minimal effort. They're often frugal, dedicated, and incredibly disciplined. The book notes that more than half the millionaires we interviewed never paid more than $30,000 for a motor vehicle.
Wow, really?
Yeah. This lifestyle emphasizes sustained effort, consistent saving, and frugality over instant gratification or speculative quick-win schemes. It actually resonates with Adam Smith's foundational economic principles from way back in The Wealth of Nations.
How so?
Smith discusses how a person's revenue is, in this case, derived from his labor only, when his stock is insufficient for long-term maintenance. It really underscores the idea that active labor, prudent capital management, and consistent effort are often necessary for a sustained income and wealth.
Not just purely passive hands-off methods.
Exactly. That passive income dream often requires a lot of active work and strategic effort to set up and then, crucially, maintain. It's rarely truly passive forever.
Okay, so if pure financial arbitrage exploiting fleeting price differences is so elusive and risky, what about a more sophisticated approach? Our sources suggest that a more durable, more sustainable form of arbitrage involves strategically leveraging information and, crucially, building deep, sticky customer relationships.
Now we're talking about something potentially more solid.
This sounds like a much more grounded way to create lasting value rather than just chasing the next temporary loophole.
It absolutely is. And this is where the concept of arbitrage moves from simple exploitation to sophisticated value creation. It's less about exploiting fleeting price differences and more about constructing a defensible competitive advantage, building that barrier Helmer talks about.
Gotcha.
Joseph Pine, Don Peppers, and Martha Rogers in Do You Want to Keep Your Customers Forever introduce Peapod as a really compelling example of this.
Peapod, the online grocery service.
That's the one. They describe it as a learning broker that expands its offerings by arbitraging the information between customers and companies to offer new product categories that genuinely meet customer needs based on buying habits and data.
So using data as the arbitrage tool.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Peapod controls the relationship with the customers because customers already know how to interact with its online ordering system and are therefore reluctant to repeat that entire, often time-consuming learning process with another supplier.
That creates a switching cost, a barrier.
Exactly. It creates powerful switching cost, a barrier.
Here's where it gets really interesting and becomes a valuable lesson for you, the listener. If you're thinking about building something sustainable,
Pay attention here.
this demonstrates that arbitrage can be sustainable, but maybe only if it involves creating proprietary knowledge, building unique processes, or, as in Peapod's case, deeply embedded customer relationships.
Things that are hard to copy.
These relationships, these unique insights, these proprietary systems, in essence, they serve as that crucial barrier against competition that Helmer discusses in Seven Powers. It's a far cry from a simplistic exploit a price difference and walk away approach.
Totally different game.
It's about strategic, long-term relationship building, continuous learning, information leverage, which inherently requires continuous engagement and value creation.
Not a hands-off 4-hour model. It requires active cultivation to build something truly lasting and defensible. 3. Eliminate and liberate. Escapism or responsible action.
Let's turn to another central tenet of the 4-hour workweek, the call to eliminate undesirable tasks and liberate oneself from commitments, especially those that drain energy or don't align with your lifestyle design.
Yeah, the decluttering of your work life.
While the idea of shedding unproductive or dissatisfying work is, incredibly compelling.
Who wouldn't want that?
Right. But our sources suggest this can sometimes, in practice, veer into an avoidance of personal responsibility.
Yeah.
And perhaps more significantly, bypass the deep, often challenging pursuit of intrinsically meaningful work and relationships.
This is where we hit a kind of fundamental philosophical divergence, I think. It touches upon the very definition of a well-lived life. Stephen R. Covey's The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People offers a powerful counterpoint here.
How so?
He asserts that love the feeling is a fruit of love the verb.
Meaning
that deep, lasting relationships, whether personal or professional, require active commitment, sacrifice, listening, empathy, constant effort. It's an action, a verb, not just a passive feeling. Covey argues There's no shortcut to true mastery, or what he calls primary greatness, which comes from character and contribution, not just competence or efficiency. Simply eliminating the difficult aspects of relationships or life's inevitable challenges is not a recipe for this kind of enduring value or fulfillment.
So avoiding the hard stuff is counterproductive.
Often, yes. It's through those challenges and commitments that we grow the most, forge the strongest bonds, and achieve our most profound sense of purpose. Trying to eliminate them might inadvertently eliminate the very things that give life its richness and meaning.
So it's not about avoiding the hard stuff, but understanding its role in our growth. That makes sense. Clayton Christensen, in How Will You Measure Your Life, reinforces this. He emphasizes that personal purpose needs to be deliberately conceived, chosen, and managed.
It doesn't just happen to you.
Exactly. It won't simply deliver itself or emerge automatically once you've automated all your emails. This suggests that life's challenges, unforeseen obstacles, emergent opportunities, they're actually crucial crucibles for personal growth, for becoming the person you truly want to be.
Rather than being things to just escape or outsource.
Right. And Angela Duckworth's grit further highlights the importance of sticking with things and perseverance in achieving long-term goals.
Stipping power.
She tells this illustrative anecdote about Francesca, whose parents, though absurdly cool, still practiced no-nonsense parenting by teaching, no, you don't get to have everything you want when you want it.
Learning delayed gratification.
It beautifully balances unconditional support with the expectation of effort and discipline. And that contrasts sharply with a purely liberated mindset that might just shy away from such necessary, growth-inducing challenges. It suggests that true liberation often comes from overcoming challenges, not just sidestepping them. Okay, so if true liberation doesn't necessarily come from escaping responsibility, then perhaps it comes from effectively managing and maybe even leading through those responsibilities, no matter how difficult they seem.
Flipping the script.
Yeah, from detachment and avoidance to active engagement and ownership.
That's a profound shift in perspective. Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink and Leif Babin, again, is just resolute on this point. They state, as a leader, you must believe.
Take responsibility.
It emphasizes that leadership isn't one person leading a team. It is a group of leaders working together up and down the chain of command to lead. This highlights the collective nature of responsibility and the absolute necessity for active, engaged leadership, especially when facing difficult situations.
Rather than opting out or abdicating.
Exactly. It's about taking ownership, not just for your own tasks, but for the entire mission, for the well-being of your team, for the outcomes. True leaders step up to challenges. They don't just delegate away their core responsibilities or influence.
And Peter Drucker, back in Managing Oneself, provides some really practical wisdom on this too. He advises individuals to understand and adapt to their bosses and coworkers, recognizing that each works his or her way, not your way.
Working with people as they are.
The secret of effectiveness, he argues, is to understand the people you work with and depend on so that you can make use of their strengths. This isn't about eliminating difficult relationships or avoiding complex team dynamics.
It's about navigating that complexity, actively shaping working relationships, leveraging diverse strengths to achieve mutual effectiveness and shared goals.
It's about engagement, not elimination.
Think about Robert Moses, as meticulously described in Robert Caro's epic biography, The Power Broker. Moses was an absolute master of political maneuvering, wielding the power of money and influence.
A controversial figure, but effective.
Highly controversial, but his mind was his weapon, allowing him to shape outcomes and control situations to realize his monumental vision for New York. This demonstrates that active strategic engagement, even in contentious and deeply political environments, is absolutely key to achieving influence and vision.
Rather than detachment or retreat.
His liberation, if you want to call it that, came from command and impact, not from stepping back from the fray.
So, look, we're certainly not saying don't eliminate anything. The book's focus on elimination clearly has valuable lessons. But the valuable aspect of eliminating tasks, it should be seen as strategic prioritization for greater impact.
Not just an escape from effort or challenge.
Exactly. It's a tool for optimization, for sharpening your focus, not just pure avoidance or making life easy.
Precisely. Let's revisit Blue Ocean Leadership by Kim and Mauborgne. Their process involves rigorously evaluating existing as-is leadership canvases, essentially, how leaders currently spend their time and energy, and then creating aspirational to-be leadership profiles.
Okay, clear before and after.
Right. This means leaders are explicitly tasked to cut back on the acts and activities that were to be eliminated and reduced, and instead focus on what does add value, on the high-impact behaviors. Crucially, feedback is then gathered from their teams on how well they're making the transition to the new profiles, with specific examples of actions and measurable outcomes.
So it's performance-driven.
Absolutely. This isn't simply about reducing your workload to 4 hours. It illustrates a highly constructive, performance-driven approach to elimination. It's about purposeful streamlining for better, more impactful outcomes. And it demands active, ongoing management, not some set-it-and-forget-it mentality.
This contrasts really sharply with simply avoiding difficult tasks or shirking responsibility. Strategic elimination in this context is about actively redirecting effort towards what truly matters. It's a form of active, intelligent management.
It's not passive shirking or disengagement. It's about optimizing your contribution and maximizing your impact, recognizing that some effort, some deep engagement is not only necessary but often deeply rewarding and absolutely central to a sense of purpose. 4. The broader landscape, redefining success and engagement.
Okay, so if the 4-hour ideal, especially when taken to its extreme, has some potential pitfalls, what does true, enduring success actually look like? Our sources consistently suggest that creating something truly significant, whether it's a successful company, a lasting social impact, or a meaningful career, almost universally requires sustained effort.
Yeah, dedication.
Long-term vision, and deep, often unwavering commitment. This extends far beyond the idea of just minimal time investment.
It absolutely does. Look at the story of Starbucks. Howard Schultz, in Pour Your Heart Into It, recounts how the company was built in a different way, leading with its heart and nurture its soul and still make money.
Balancing profit and purpose.
Exactly. This involved an unwavering commitment to long-term value for shareholders without sacrificing its core belief in treating its employees with respect and dignity. This kind of foundational culture and enduring value requires continuous, deeply engaged effort.
Not a 4-hour input.
No way. It requires a strong and consistent value system and a relentless focus on both profit and purpose. It's about building a legacy, a sustainable institution, not just a temporary lifestyle hack for one individual.
And when you look at the giants of industry today, the level of dedication and sustained effort required is often just astounding.
Off the charts sometimes.
Brad Stone's The Everything Store vividly portrays Jeff Bezos' relentless pursuit of Amazon's vision, not just to be an everything store, but ultimately an everything company.
Always pushing.
He would move faster, work his employees harder, make bolder bets, and pursue both big inventions and small ones, even during periods of incredible levels of attrition among his staff and immense pressure.
Bezos never stopped believing in his long-term vision.
It illustrates the intense, enduring effort, the sheer grit required to build a massively valuable enterprise, often through what he famously called a rope of many small advantages, accumulated through persistent hard work, often over decades.
Decades, yeah. Similarly, in blitzscaling, Reid Hoffman and Chris Yeh describe Reed Hastings' long-term vision for Netflix. He wanted to provide television on demand, delivered via the internet.
Way back, right?
Way back. Crucially, in 1997, the technology simply wasn't ready for this grand vision. So Netflix used DVDs as an intermediate tactical step.
Playing the long game.
Exactly. This demonstrates the iterative, patient process of building towards a grand vision, accommodating technological constraints, learning along the way, rather than a single quick arbitrage or an immediate liberation from effort. These are stories of sustained, deep engagement over the long haul.
This highlights the essential truth, maybe, that true mastery and sustained success in complex, dynamic environments demand continuous learning, relentless adaptability, and an unwavering willingness to engage deeply with challenges.
You can't just set it and forget it.
It's a far cry from achieving some fixed 4-hour ideal and then checking out. The world simply doesn't stand still.
Precisely. Eric Ries, in The Lean Startup, highlights that a startup's work is never done because even established companies must struggle to find new sources of growth through disruptive innovation.
Always evolving.
It requires juggling multiple kinds of work at the same time, pursuing operational excellence and disruptive innovation. That clearly implies continuous, multifaceted effort rather than achieving some 4-hour steady state or an endpoint of minimal work. The market evolves, Tech advances, customer needs shift constantly. You have to keep up.
And this continuous engagement isn't just about growth. Sometimes it's about sheer survival.
It really is. Clayton Christensen's seminal work, The Innovator's Dilemma, shows how even leading well-managed firms can be wiped out by a disruptive technology if they ignore new innovations or cling too tightly to their existing business models.
Complacency kills.
It can. He uses the compelling example of the mechanical excavator industry, where hydraulics completely disrupted established manufacturers over 2 decades. This underscores the critical need for ongoing vigilance, strategic engagement, and constant adaptation.
Not a static, minimal work model where you've figured it all out.
Definitely not. It's about being an active, learning participant in your field, always scanning the horizon, always adapting, always growing. Howard Marks, in The Most Important Thing Illuminated, talks about the absolute necessity of second-level thinking for successful investing.
Thinking deeper than the crowd.
Yes, to be more right than others, meaning your thinking has to be different and more profound. This pursuit of superior insight requires deep, continuous engagement with complex information, nuanced analysis, and an intellectual curiosity that can never be truly hands-off or automated away.
Okay, finally, while individual efficiency is clearly important, and Ferriss makes a powerful case for it, success in the modern world is increasingly and deeply intertwined with effective teamwork and collective responsibility.
We don't succeed alone.
This challenges the highly individualistic ethos that can sometimes be inferred from the 4-hour workweek model, where the focus is almost exclusively on your freedom and your optimization.
This is such a crucial distinction that often gets overlooked, I find. General Stanley McChrystal's Team of Teams offers a powerful critique of organizations where a lack of collective responsibility causes profound failures, sometimes with truly tragic consequences.
What's an example?
He points to the example of General Motors, where separate divisions and a competitive culture silos basically led to crucial information not being passed on, for instance, regarding those dangerous ignition systems.
Oh, right. Huge consequences.
It's huge. It illustrates the severe negative outcomes when individual or departmental liberation from information sharing, collaboration, and collective responsibility undermines the larger organization. It's a stark reminder that we don't operate in a vacuum. Our actions affect others.
In contrast, John R. Katzenbach and Douglas K. Smith's The Discipline of Teams emphasizes that for teams to truly succeed, they must have performance goals that are set and affirmed individually and collectively by the crew.
Shared ownership.
And they must wrestle with the trade-offs and develop a shared understanding and mutual sense of commitment. This is a profoundly collaborative approach, far from an individualistic 4-hour mentality.
It requires deep collaboration, shared ownership, mutual accountability, hard work, often.
Right. Kim Scott's radical candor further reinforces this. She emphasizes care personally and challenge directly as crucial for effective management and building strong teams.
Tough conversations, but necessary.
It promotes a culture of constant debate and giving hard feedback to show you care, fostering an environment of active engagement and mutual accountability, rather than just avoiding difficult conversations or retreating into individual silos.
Ultimately, much of what we achieve, much of the lasting value we create, is built not just through individual genius or efficiency hacks, but through interdependent, responsible collaboration.
So we've kind of come full circle on this deep dive into the 4-hour workweek. What's the nuanced reality here? What do we want you, the listener, to walk away with?
Well, we've seen that the book offered genuinely groundbreaking insights into efficiency, right? Challenging conventional assumptions about work, democratizing powerful tools like outsourcing and automation for greater productivity. These ideas, when applied thoughtfully and strategically, are incredibly valuable. They can indeed help you reclaim your time and focus.
Definitely valuable tools in the toolkit.
Absolutely. However, a deeper look through the lens of our sources today reveals some critical questions. We question the sustainability of easy arbitrage, the potential for escapism disguised as liberation from essential responsibilities,
And the ultimate fulfillment that comes from minimizing engagement rather than leaning deeply into work and life inevitable challenges.
Exactly. It's a powerful blueprint, but one that needs careful interpretation and maybe some caveats.
So for you, our listener, here's a provocative thought to leave you with, something to maybe mull over. What is the true measure of a well-designed life?
Big question.
Is it simply the minimization of work hours, the pursuit of maximum leisure? Or is it perhaps the maximization of meaningful contribution, deep personal growth, and authentic connection with others?
Clayton Christensen, in How Will You Measure Your Life?, reminds us that the purpose of your life is too important to leave to chance. It must be deliberately conceived, chosen, and managed.
Chosen.
While smart work, radical efficiency, and leveraging resources are undoubtedly invaluable tools, perhaps the most profound and lasting liberation might come not just from escaping responsibility, but from actively embracing it.
How so?
By creating enduring value, building those crucial barriers we talked about from Helmer's 7 powers, through dedicated effort, a strong sense of purpose, and deep, continuous engagement with the world around you. It's about building a life that truly matters, not just one that demands less of your time.
Food for thought indeed. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.
Thanks, everyone.
We'll see you next time.